Sugar boom boom, I'm chasing dragon. This dragon's got my hand. Sugar boom boom, out robbing people, but I'm an honest man. Sugar boom boom, I'm chasing dragon. This dragon's got my hand. Sugar boom boom, out robbing people, but I'm an honest man.
How's it going, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another episode of How to Collect. This is episode number 3. The point of this series is to help new collectors kind of get their footing in the horror collecting world, maybe set up a blueprint or a guideline for those new collectors. Over the years, I've gotten many messages and emails asking me, hey, how did I start my collection? What did I go after first? Where's the cheap DVDs at? So the point of this series is to kind of show you guys how to build a respectable horror collection fastly and cheaply. So this is episode 3, and as always with this series, this is not 100% the cheapest place to find each title. There are cheaper places out there. In fact, in this episode, I poked around a little bit and found, some titles that were maybe $1 cheaper here. Other times, they were more expensive, but you can find them a little bit cheaper in most cases, in some cases anyway. But this is just a guideline, and for convenience sake, I kind of keep them all in one place just to go through really quickly. I'm more of telling you what title to look for and not really in this episode where to buy it. So we're going to be sticking to Amazon on this episode. Episode 3 will be focusing on Stephen King, because Stephen King is one of those horror contributors that have really kind of nailed so many different subgenres. So many different kinds of movies have come from Stephen King adaptations, and a lot of them are really good. There's some bad ones in there too, but it's such a huge chunk of horror history that Stephen King films have been a part of and involved in that any collector should go after some Stephen King titles right away, because there are a lot of classics that are under the Stephen King umbrella. And of course, a lot of them are very cheap. So let's head on over to the computer and I'll show you guys what we're going to be looking at this time. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to grab here is the Pet Sematary 1 and 2 double pack. Now this is certainly not the best way to grab these films. The first film is definitely worth a solo edition and potentially that Blu-ray that's out there, but right now, unfortunately, the Blu-ray is a little pricey. So I think that this double pack is the best for your value, because Pet Sematary 2 honestly isn't a film that you need a super cool edition of. There actually isn't even a super cool edition of this film. So, the double pack is fine for now, but I definitely would look for a better version of Pet Sematary 1. Just depends on what suits you and how much you're willing to spend early on your collection. So we're going to go ahead and add that to the cart for now. Alright, and after that we have Stephen King's The Dead Zone. Of course, this is a David Cronenberg film. We're paying $7.66 for this. It's not that bad of a price. I would have maybe liked to get it a little bit cheaper, but at the same time, man, it is Cronenberg. It's a very well made film. Unless there's like a cheap Blu-ray out there, this is definitely the way to go for now. So we're going to go ahead and add Stephen King's The Dead Zone to the cart. Alright, after that we have Stephen King's Graveyard Shift. Now this is another film that we're paying a little bit extra for. I have seen it go for $5, which is what I paid for it, but it does seem like this film is sticking around that $7.71 price. I have checked on it over the past few weeks and seems to be sticking around there, so we're definitely probably going to have to grab it now. Graveyard Shift is definitely a really fun film in my opinion. It has a really cool mood and atmosphere to it. It's just a fun creature feature. It's great for Halloween time, so I definitely think this is one of the funner Stephen King movies out there that's not considered a bona fide classic. So let's add that to the cart. Alright, now after that we have our first Blu-ray, and it is Sleepwalkers. This is a $10 Blu-ray. You're paying $9.75 for it. Maybe a little overpriced because it's not the greatest Stephen King movie in the world, but I do recommend it. It's a fun one. You have the one Olivia Hussey, who is a really good actor. She's in a few different things, Psycho 4 and of course Black Christmas. She's very beautiful and she plays an interesting character in this one. And it's just this, it kind of takes this screwball turn later on in the film and almost becomes like a full-blown comedy. So Sleepwalkers is definitely a fun one. You want to maybe look for a cheaper price than that. You could grab it on DVD for a little bit cheaper, but, you know, Blu-ray, you know, it's not that much more expensive. So let's add that to the cart. After that, we have Stephen King's Storm of the Century. Now, I would highly recommend, instead of grabbing this off of Amazon, you check for it in a dump bin at Walmart, because I see them all the time. It's a crappy, like, Mill Creek version with, like, 6 other movies. Luckily, Stephen King's Storm of the Century is on its own disc, at least it was when I grabbed it. This is a very underrated Stephen King TV miniseries. It's a very good movie in my opinion. It's in the 9 to 9.5 range, and not a lot of people talk about it, so you're definitely going to want to add that to your Stephen King collection and your horror collection. So let's go ahead and add that to the cart now. So after that, we have a absolute classic. This is Carrie. You're only paying $9.99 for this. I highly think that is a great deal. You can get a Blu-ray DVD combo pack for much more expensive price, but you know, this is fine. Just grab this on Blu-ray. It's one of the best Stephen King adaptations out there. It's one of my favorite films of all time, and I highly recommend you definitely grab Carrie. If you're going to grab one Stephen King film here today, I would probably make it Carrie, just because it is a bona fide classic. I love Carrie. We've talked about it many times on the show, the podcast and stuff like that, so let's add it to the cart. After that, we're grabbing Misery for $8.78. That's a very good price for Misery on Blu-ray. Kathy Bates, this is a great movie. This is one of the better Stephen King adaptations. I believe it was a Rob Reiner film, and it's, you know, it's more of a thriller, but it definitely has its horrific side to it. It's very you know, tense, and just a you know, great thriller. Highly recommend Misery. So we're definitely going to want to grab that. That's one of the classic Stephen Kings. So let's add that to the cart. After that, we have Creepshow, and we're paying about $9.92 for this on Blu-ray. I have seen it go for a little bit cheaper. You can grab it for under $5 on DVD, but I think Creepshow is a well-deserved film to have on Blu-ray. It's an anthology. I believe it might be the first anthology that we've picked up in this series, and you know, it's probably one of the best to go for, because it is the staple of all anthologies. It really is a fantastic anthology. There's some great segments in it, and it's a film that it seems like everybody has their favorite segment. I've heard everybody say that, you know, this is their favorite segment and this is their favorite segment. It really does. There's fans of every segment is what I'm trying to say. So let's go ahead and add that one to the cart. After that, we have Creepshow II, of course. This is only $7.99, well-deserved price here on Blu-ray. Definitely worth grabbing. Creepshow 2 is, you know, debatably better than the first one. I think I like the first one a little bit better, but I kind of go back and forth on it. Creepshow 2 has the probably best segment in both films, and that is the raft. The other two segments are not as strong as the original film, but they're definitely pretty solid with Chief Woodenhead and I believe the Hitchhiker. So let's add that one to the cart as well. And then next up, we're going to grab Silver Bullet. This is only $5.97. Definitely a good price. This film was out of print for a while. It got re-released, and now you can get it, you know, for around $6. I've seen it go for $5, but you know, it's just a little extra dollar. Corey Haim werewolf film, kind of a unique werewolf film. Definitely a classic werewolf film. So you're grabbing a Stephen King film, a Corey Haim film, and a werewolf film that you should all have in your collection. So let's go ahead and add that to the cart as well. Then we go ahead and move over to Stephen King's It. Now $5, that is a great price for it. This film has currently not been released on Blu-ray yet, so $5 is definitely a price until we can get a Blu-ray to upgrade it with. Man, this is just a great movie. I love Stephen King's It. It's actually pretty terrifying. It's gonna scare a lot of people. If you didn't see it when you was a kid, you consider yourself lucky, because it probably would have scared you a lot. And I actually did not see this when I was a kid, but I could only imagine. Of course, directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. Long movie, you know, it's in a miniseries format. The first section is better than the second section in a lot of people's minds. The only thing wrong with it is it has a bad ending, but besides that, it is a classic Stephen King film. So let's add that to the cart. After that, we have Secret Window. This is more of a thriller. I threw this one in here because it's only $6.55, and that's a pretty solid price for this. It's a pretty fun film with Johnny Depp. It has a nice twist ending. It's you're very into it the whole time. It goes at a decent pace for being kind of a slower film, And yeah, Secret Window, definitely worth a grab on Blu-ray for $6.55. So let's add that to the cart. And finally, for this part, we have Christine, which I've actually grabbed the edition here. It's only $9.24. I don't know why it says 25 over here. But yeah, Christine, you know, it has that crappy Twilight Times release. There's rumors that it's going to get a Blu-ray release from Sony. So you might want to hold off on this, but as of right now, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to get a Blu-ray or any other cheaper copy of Christine for, you know, anywhere between $7 to $9. It's about as cheap as you're going to get it. So Christine, definitely a absolute classic. This is a John Carpenter film, so we get another John Carpenter film added to the list, as well as a Stephen King film. I love Christine, so let's go ahead and add that one to the cart. And as we look at our cart right here, we ended up getting, I believe, 13 titles for just over $100. That should be free shipping. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of tax, so if you want to cut one of them, you can get under $100 for this one. The only things we're missing really is, you know, The Shining is a big one that we're missing, and The Mist is a good one we're missing, Cujo, of course, and Thinner. There's a few that were just a little too pricey for my blood, but you can shop around and find some of those classics a little bit cheaper. So that is all for this part, guys. I got plenty more things in store. I will have a little bit of break between these videos though, so I hope you guys enjoy. Keep up that Stephen King collection. It is definitely something you're gonna want in your collection, is a lot of Stephen King films, so let's knock them out early, huh? So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.